We're just over the halfway mark on Wimbledon 2019, and joining me today on Monday is a man who will be on centre court himself today as we preview centre court games, Nigel Seeley. Nigel, Royal Box today?
No, I'm actually playing, Sully. I'm in the mixed doubles this afternoon. I'm joking aside. I'm very lucky winning the ballot. Got 2 tickets, and we've got today, which is probably one of the best days to go to Wimbledon. It's the game where it's the last 16, but the men's and the women's play some great matches. If you ask any tennis judge or anybody who follows tennis, this is the best day for me at Wimbledon. So it's been a tough first week, very tough first week, but it's also played for in the second week, and hopefully we'll steer the punters in some winners today. But looking forward to it. We'll be heading off very shortly. So looking forward to centre court play today. Good action as well.
Good man. Let's start with the first game of centre court today. Sully against Rafael Nadal. Absolutely no surprises here to see that Nadal is a 1.05 shot on the money line, and he's an 8.5 game favourite on the handicap, slightly favouring him as well, 1.84, and the total is 29. It's 15 in a row for Nadal. It's exceptionally hard to see why it wouldn't be 16 in a row after today.
Yeah, I think if he was looking at his opponent, which if he could handpick someone at the last 16 stage, Sousa wouldn't be far off the list of candidates who you could possibly pick. Sousa done the thinkable and beat Cilic in the last round. He was our outsider, he was our tip to do well on it. But Cilic failed to take 18 break points in that game, which was staggering. Cilic, there was something not right about Cilic. I mean, he didn't serve to his best. He looked disinterested, and Sousa capitalised. Then Sousa went and played Dan Evans. Now, Dan Evans will have sleepless nights for years to come on how he never won that game, how he's not playing Nadal today. And Nadal is just sitting there watching his opponent come through a 5-setter, an epic 5-setter against a Brit at Wimbledon, and he's just sitting there breezing through the tournament. And like I say, if you look at the head-to-head between the two of them, it's 2-0 in Nadal's favour, all in straight sets, all very, very comfortable. In 5 of the sets they've played, 2 of them Nadal have won 6-love, and another one they've won 6-1. So I think if you're on centre court today, play starts at 1 o'clock, you'll probably be in the bar by about 2:15, which I think is a good thing for me. So I'm looking forward to that.
I'm totally with you on this one, because I mean, you were saying about Cilic not taking his opportunities. Dan Evans is the exact same. I think it was 24 breakpoint opportunities that he didn't take. So Nadal is not going to let this guy off the hook, as opposed to those guys. So what's your general angle here? Would you want to be under the games, or would you kind of want to lay at the 8.5 on Nadal?
I think the way, Sousa's game plan is only one way: hit the baseline, try to out-hit his opponents, and that's what he's done successfully. But against Nadal, it just won't work. I mean, everything that he's got, Nadal's better than him at. And I think in the first set may be quite a tight one, maybe 6-3, 6-4. But once he wins that second set, or once he wins that first set, I think we could see a capitulation here. I wouldn't be surprised to see another 6-love in this set. Every time they played, Nadal's won a set 6-love, and I think that brings in the total game angle. I think definitely under the total games here. I know a match put with 29, which is I'd like to have 30 on my side, because that brings it. If you've got 30.5, that's just beautiful, because you get 6-4, 6-4, 6-4. But I can't see any games going longer than that. So that will bring the total games. I do think Nadal will probably be the bet plus 8.5. But then again, it's probably about 1 too high for me. I'd probably want 7. So I'm looking really at the under games. I see very little downside of playing under 29. Is 29 a push for you, Sully?
29 is a push now, Jan. It's kind of trending that way at the moment. It's going 1.89. So I think you'd have to lay a bit of juice to get the 30.5.
Yeah, I think with the push, I'll be tempted to take it. But I can see the first set being maybe a 6-4, second set 6-3, and once he's 2-0 up, I think Sousa's head will go. I think his body's come through 2 epic matches. One of them from his body, what Evans in a long game, and the other one mentally, where he's fighting off Chile with 18 break points. When you're fighting off almost sort of 50 break points in 2 matches, your mental capacity must be quite strong. But Nadal will break that very, very, very quickly. I think Nadal, very, very simple match, very, very quick. So for me, the angle under the 29 games with the push.
Absolutely. That sounds good to me. I like that angle. Let's look at the later men's game on centre court today. Matteo Bertini against Roger Federer. I think this one will be a bit closer. 1.14 is Federer, 7.8 is Bertini. The handicapper is a flat 6, slightly favouring Bertini at the moment, 1.93, and 35.5 is the total. I don't think Berrettini's flying under the radar here with Federer, considering Federer kind of tipped him up as a kind of a dark horse pre-tournament night. You look at Federer, Nigel, and he's kind of just about doing enough at the moment. But I kind of get the sense that Berrettini, and I think you might be in agreement there, will be able to give him a game today.
I do, I really do. I'm surprised the handicap is 6, actually. I know, and that's very generous from matchbook punters, because yesterday I was looking around, it was 5.5 or 4, and maybe 4.5 in a couple of spots. So the money's obviously come for Federer, which surprises me really, because I know he's a named player, and I've said all along for this whole of the last Grand Slam season, Federer breezes through the first weeks. He absolutely breezes through. His draws pretty easy. He wins in straight sets. This Wimbledon's a bit different because he lost the first set against Harris in the first round, but he usually just breezes through. When he gets to the business end of the tournament, he draws the seeded players. That's when he becomes dodgy, and you want to take him on, and especially in play. I think if games go deep now into the 4th and 5th set, I don't think he's got the capacity to compete, as I've said to you when we spoke about the Australian Open, when we've spoken about the French Open. Now, the French, he done better than anybody would anticipate getting to the semi-finals against Nadal. That was what expected loss. But prior to that, in Grand Slams, he ran into John Millman at this stage and got beat. He ran into Tsitsipas and got beat again. These were shock defeats, and these were similar kind of prices to what Berrettini finds himself today. You know, Tsitsipas was probably a little bit shorter, but Millman would have been bigger. So I don't think he has that aura about him, especially in playing anymore. Now, obviously, he's at Wimbledon. He's at the court where he feels no natural centre court. But it didn't help him last year against Anderson. Kevin Anderson finally beat him in a real epic semi-final. And I just think that Berrettini will cause him problems. Now, Berrettini is a very, very talented grass court player. His grass court record in the build-up to this tournament is exceptional. And it's very unlike Italian players to be able to play competitively on grass, and he can. He's got a great backhand. He's got a great grass court game. And I think he's a real entertainer, Berrettini. He's a very, very charismatic player. And I think the centre court crowd will warm to him as the game goes on. At the beginning, the majority of people there will never have heard of him. You know, this is Middle England who know Nadal. They don't know Berrettini. They don't have a clue. But during the game goes on, I think he'll entertain a few people, and people will quite warm to him. And I think if he's in with his shot in running, if he gets a 2-1, if he's 2 sets to 1 behind, or he managed to get a set going, this is a very interesting game. We could have a shock on our hands here. But if Federer, obviously, he's got the capability to breeze through. But I think in running, if we get 2-2 or 2-1, I definitely want to take Federer on, because he's vulnerable in the latter stages in Grand Slam games. So for me here, I think the bet pre-match, I love this six handicap. I think that's maybe at least 1.5 too high. Federer is very much like Pete Sampras. If you look at how he wins games compared to like Nadal will win a set 6-love, 6-1, and Federer gets to 4-4 in the first set, raises game, breaks them at 4-4. And then he serves and wins 6-4. If you look at his makeups of his set wins, a lot of them are around about 2 or tie breaks, whereas Nadal will be 3-4. So if you price them up exactly the same, the handicap should probably be 2 always higher for a Nadal match than it would be for a Federer match. And it was very similar when I was trading back in the spread betting games long time ago with Sampras and Agassi. Agassi would win games very easy, 6-1, 6-1. And sets very easy, whereas Sampras would win 6-4, 6-4. But Sampras would win 6-4, 6-4 against the world number 2 or the world number 502. And that's what Federer does a lot on grass. So I think that 6 is definitely a runner here. I also would like to play laying. I like to take the 3-0 on, a Federer 3-0 win. I give Berrettini a great chance of getting at least 1 set here. So if you're looking at the set handicaps, Berrettini plus 1.5. Maybe if you want to take a chance and lay Federer straight sets. But the 6 would be my strongest play. So, but I do think this is one game. I mean, if you look at the men's singles card today, Sully, there's a lot of favourites, very short price favourites. Now, all of them, there'd be a lot of accas going on if the bookmakers want to take them. That is a lot of these favourites winning today. But the thing is,
we've no Frankie Dettori here today, so we should be okay.
Well, Berrettini is Italian, so they might be waving the white flag again if he gets involved. But I do think this is one favourite that is vulnerable. I really do, especially in play. So I think favourite backers will be out in force. There'll be accumulators running on. But if this one goes tight, I think there could be a shock on the cards.
Yeah, you can back Federer, or we can lay Federer in this instance 3-0 at 1.87 currently.
That's a great. To me, that's. I mean, You know, that's getting a little bit of odds against. I'd take that. And you know, Bertini has definitely got in his capabilities potential to take a set off him, and he's a natural on grass.
And he's the top performing grass player on the tour this season. Obviously, there hasn't been that many. Was won 11 of his last 12 on grass.
Yeah.
There's a lot. Right, let's double back and look at the ladies on centre court today. No surprise that Johanna Konta is getting top billing for the ladies on the centre court at 2.78 is Konta. She's playing Petra Kvitova today at 1.55 back Kvitova, and the handicap is 3.5, and it's odds against at the moment on Kvitova there, or sorry, on Konta even at 1.87, getting 3.5. Total is 21.5. Two-time champion Kvitova here. I'm kind of surprised. I thought she'd be a bit shorter here. But then again, Nigel, when it's a British player, you always have to probably give up a bit of tax with Konta. But what are your general thoughts on this one?
Kvitova, if you look over the last 2 or 3 years, Kvitova's always a player that's involved in long matches. She plays, especially not last year. You know, she's coming back from injury, but 18 months ago or so, Kvitova games were always ones to be playing the over on the total games. This match is all about the serve, because Konta, when she's on game, her serve, she can beat anybody. You know, when she played Sloane Stephens at the French Open, she just didn't lose a point on her serve. She takes her time, she frustrates people. When it's on point, it's brilliant. But it also breaks down. It also can completely break down. Whereas Kvitova has got one of the best service games in women's tennis, bar none. I mean, that left-handed serve on grass is a formidable record. So I look at this game and I think that Kvitova's flaky sometimes. She can go in set. She can lose the plot, but she very quickly gets herself back on track. She's got a great mental strength as well. So I look at this match and I think to myself, it's a long one. This is a 3-set game to me. The crowd will be behind her, but I do think Kvitova will be able to have the ability, the experience to maybe progress. But I couldn't really play on the match markets, but I certainly would play on the over the games, because Kvitova games usually are over the games. Last 16 at Wimbledon on grass against another big serving player who's a Brit, who's both in form. What are we at? 22.5, I suppose.
22 flat, 22 Nigel.
Well, 22. I've got to play. I'll be over the 22 games. I mean, even if we could still get that with a straight sets win, a 7-6, 6-4 win, we caught. Wouldn't be surprised to see the first set go to a tiebreak very close. We win on 2. That's a great, you know, that's all I would like to take the 22s and 23s. Obviously, we can get big servers like this. And then if we get the third set, we're laughing. And I think this will go distance. So I'm going over the games this one. They met 4 times before. Kvitova leads 3-1. Twice on grass, 1-1. But I think both of them will have their moments in the game, and both of them will go off the boil at some stage in the game. And that produces games.
And you talk about kind of, you know, Kvitova's, you know, strong resolve. Konta going down a set there against Sloane Stephens the last day, that could have set her behind as well, but it did not. So both the whole sort.
The other thing about Sully as well is that she's got no expectation of winning this tournament. That's another thing, you know, the pressure that was Tim Henman was under, and the pressure Andy Murray was under, you know, to win it all. She's just going under the radar, and no one's really getting excited about it. But if she wins today, then she's got an extra pressure, because she'll be on the back page of every paper, and then we'll be saying she could win this championship. She can win it, but at the moment she's got a difficult draw. She's got to get some obstacles. But I think Kvitova's too strong. You know, she was always the one I thought in that top half. If she gets to a semi-final against Ash Barty, there'll be a huge overreaction to Barty's price, and Kvitova will be tremendous value if she starts off at around about 6-4 or something like that, which I expect her to on grass in the semi-final. She's got the capability. So there's a lot of games that I'm looking forward to, hopefully, that we can get for value purposes. So, but this one here, all about long games, over the games for me, over 22.
Sounds good. Pretty quickly, just want to get your thoughts on the other women's game today. One of the ones I was looking at, Simona Halep against Coco Goff. Does it end today for Goff, do you think? She's 5.0 currently in match box.
Do you know what, Sully? Listen, Goff has cost me more money in this championship than anybody else, and it's driving me mad, because, you know, when you lose money on a tennis match, you go down the pub or you go out the weekend, and nobody talks about, oh, did you see the Kuznetsova v Azarenka game in Strasbourg last week? But everywhere I'm going, everyone's talking about this Goff, and I'm thinking she's lost me more money. Like, so that Hercock game was just a killer for me. The only saving grace is I backed the handicap 1.5, which got me some money back. But I think it has to end now, but I did expect the Goff market move to be a lot shorter. I thought that she would probably be around about a 5-2 shot, 2-1 shot to win this. When you consider the prices she started off in her last couple of games, she started off at 4-7 to beat Hercule, and now she's playing Halep. Halep is probably one of the flakiest women.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Oh, and she got absolutely smashed by a 17-year-old in the French Open. So, a 19-year-old in the French Open, I think. So, or maybe I can't remember how old Anisimova is, but she was a teenager. And I look at it, and every part of me saying, yeah, Halep should win, but she is not a player to be trusted at 5-on, and certainly if Goff goes a break up or a set up, that crowd, Halep won't fancy that one bit, and this is not her surface, so it. For the first time in the tournament, I thought Goff was probably a little bit of value at the price, but this is a big game for her. We'll know a lot more about her after this game, whether she can go on. But people were happy to take 8-1 about Goff winning the title.
Yeah,
2 days ago.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, I think the highest ranked player she's actually been is like World 21 or 22 or something. She hasn't beaten anyone inside the world top 20. But that being said, like you said, Simona Halep has absolutely broken her hearts before, Nigel, and it's not someone you want to be backing here at 1.23.
No way at all. I mean, and that's if you've taken big fancy prices on Goff to win or short price on Goff to win the title, you've got to have a play today. The handicap may be a little bit of interest, look, maybe to play for it, but for me, I would love to see that game on centre court. Obviously, at centre court, I was hoping that would be on it rather than the Kavita for Konta game, but obviously it's a Brit. So it will be a great game to watch, fascinating game to watch. And but at the prices, I think Goff is probably a little bit of value.
Right, I'll let you get out of here. You want to head to SW19. Nice. Best bet of the day of all those three that you gave me. Where are you looking?
I think the Bertini +6. I was happy to take 4.5 2 days on yesterday. I thought 5.5 was value. With 6 with a push, I think it's tremendous value on Matchbook. So that would be my play of the day. And at a big price, if you can shop around, just like as a quirky thing, as the game starts in the Nadal match, as the set starts, if you can back Nadal to win the second set 6-love, and maybe Nadal to win the third set 6-love at a real big price in play, I'd have a small bet on that because obviously you can only bet the first set now, but I think the first set will be tight. But in play, if you can get anything on the set scores, have a small couple of quid on Nadal to win either the second set or the third set 6-love. 2 sets out of 5 they've played have ended in a 6-love win for Nadal. With a jaded Sousa, crowd behind you, a pumped up Nadal, you could see another 6-love.
It's so hard psychologically too when you do lose a close, maybe in a close first set, to just pick yourself up in the second set and get going there. Nigel, enjoy the strawberries and cream and of course the Pims today, man.
I will enjoy it, but the wallet will not be enjoying it. So hopefully we get some winners. Hopefully we recover some losses. But thanks for having me on, and I'll speak to you later in the week.
Cheers, mate. Yeah, we'll be back later in the week. And don't forget, if you haven't got a matchbook account, you do want to get involved in the action of Wimbledon today, check out offer.matchbook.com for a £10 risk-free bet. Best of luck with your bets.